going on, guys? The Arcane here, back on Trouble the Breaker Season 2 video. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the top 5 best and worst passive skills released in Season 2. We already talked super attacks, we already talked active skills, and now it's time for passive skills, which tend to be the abilities that we get the most of in the game. They've released a lot of passive skills in the season. So starting off with the number 1 best passive skill released in Season 2, I think it is landing delayed nullification. Now, the reason why I think landing delayed nullification is so good is because I think this will be a really good aging ability. Now, of course, this ability is amplified by equipping Sprint as a passive skill, so you can maybe knock a couple points off of it for that. But I feel like for traversal purposes, for escaping the Raider, I think for charging at the Raider, it's a very, very good ability. It's very versatile. You can use it offensively, you could use it defensively, you can use it for escapes. It's a very good ability. And examples of ways of using it, well, defensively, you could use it, like I like to use as a combo, popping the floating device, landing, and then escaping that way. Also, you could use it while in a transfer, which is probably the best way to use it, where you pop the floating device, land, and get a little burst of speed, jump, and then you're really out of dodge without needing to use too many active skills to escape. And you could also use it offensively by popping it the same way that I just explained, and then charging at the Raider. It's really, really good, and it's cost effective, allowing you to conserve your active skills, not making you waste them each single time you encounter the Raider. So I feel like for that, this ability is really good, and I think it is a little slept on, but maybe I could be a little biased and just saying I like it a lot more than these active skills that might, or passive skills that might be a little more deserving. So for number 2, we have Beyond Super Saiyan. So the reason why Beyond Super Saiyan is high on the list is because it increases your Dragon Change for the entire game. So whether you're level 1, level 2, level 3, or even level 4, this increases your Dragon Change by, I believe, 60 charge if you max it out completely. And although that might not sound that significant, it could be the difference between living and dying sometimes, or just making that level 4 just a little bit more tanky, allowing you to stall or deal a little more damage towards the Raiders. So I feel like for that, its value is pretty high, and I can even argue, or see people arguing, for this to be number 1 for that reason alone. But I have it at number 2 just because I really do think landing delay nullification is an ability that will stand the test of time. But of course, we'll see if that is true. So next up for number 3, we have Exploration Enthusiast, which is an ability that I used for an incredibly long time. But the reason why I really like this ability is because I play very aggressively, and I think for others that play really aggressively, it is a great ability that you can use to get your Dragon Change back very quickly. If you guys don't know, if you max it, getting it to plus 20%, you can get 5% cooldown back each time you open a crate. So, you just pop your transformation, you're at 0%. You open a crate, you're at 5. You open another, you're at 10. You open 3, you're at 15 already just by opening 3 crates. So obviously this skill is very dependent on the game that you're in. Late game, this ability decreases in value just because normally, depending on how the game is going, how many people died, how many people are alive, normally at the end of the game with a lot of people alive, there'll be a lot of crates open, meaning that you're not going to get as much value out of the skill, but it could be a good comeback skill in a scenario where, say, a lot of people have died, a lot of crates are still, not open. You can get some Dragon Change back here, and especially early game where there's tons and tons and tons of crates to open, you can get a lot of value out of this skill. So I do think this ability is honestly kind of slept on, and I think it's very good for getting your Dragon Change back fast. Now, the 4th ability, unfortunately, I never pulled it. So I'm just going to have to go ahead and go to the Spirit Siphon to even show you guys what I'm talking about, but it is Unconscious Control. Now, the reason why I have Unconscious Control on my list, even though I didn't showcase it, is just because I think it does have that value of being used throughout the entire match, at least when you're fighting, right? If you guys don't know what Unconscious Control does, it increases the range of your dodge, allowing you to dodge volleys better, dodge Ki Blast better, and basically just dodge any sort of projectiles easier than you normally would have. Now, of course, can you dodge these abilities with skill, quote unquote? Yes, but Unconscious Control helps those that are struggling with projectiles. And I mean, if you're caught in a volley, skill can't really get you out of that situation. So Unconscious Control can be very good in scenarios like that, which I think makes it worth putting in the top 5 list. putting it at number 4. So for number 5, I actually have a head start item, which I don't think I would have pictured myself ever doing. But the reason why I have head start Senzus is just because the Senzu beans are pretty rare in games. Typically, you'll find like 1 maybe in a run, like at most like 2 to 3. So the fact that you can start off with 1, I think is very, very valuable, just because, if you guys don't know what Senzus do, they instantly revive a downed player, which can be really good in scenarios where the raider is camping. If you get a group of survivors to help that downed survivor, have a Senzu in that scenario, you can counter the camping, get that survivor back into the game. Now, that's not always a 4-star way to counter that camping, but regardless, Senzus are really good to revive allies when they're near the raider, just to get them out of a bind fast. So that's why I have Head Start Senzu as number 5. It's obviously not as good as these other passive skills of the game, but I feel like in terms of passive skills, it's not bad. So for honorable mentions for top 5 best, we have Destructive Impulse. Now, the only reason why I have it even like in the realm of best in honorable mentions is because of the value that you can get out of it when you're level 4. So now this is a very niche scenario. If you guys saw my showcase using it, you can actually heal your level 4 by destroying objects in buildings, which is cracked. Absolutely cracked. But how many times are you going to get the level 4 with this ability? It's very dependent on that, right? If you don't get the level 4 with this ability, then it kind of decreases the value of the ability, because when you're level 1, 2, or 3, the amount of change you get back is kind of negligible, and you're kind of just stalling to keep your change. And realistically, if the raider is like shooting at you, you're not just going to be able to like take pot shots at, no pun intended, pots, while the raider is like attacking you. It's not realistic. But as level 4, it is a pretty cool thing that you can do, that you can heal the level 4. But yeah, actually, I don't know if I explained what the ability does. Actually, give me 1 second while this phone rings. All right, the phone stopped ringing. Good. Okay, so Destructive Impulse, basically what it does, it gives you back some of your Dragon Change meter, your change meter, if you destroy stuff. So that's why it's really good for level 4, but not as good for levels 1 through 3, because you're going to be gradually losing your change just with having it out, right? So now for top 5 worst passive skills in Season 2. So this list is going to be fun. So as much as I would like to put Craving Earth's Delights as number 1, I can't do it, boys. I can't do it, because there actually is a passive skill worse than Craving Earth's Delights, if I could find it. Princely Pride. Princely Pride, bro. So if you guys don't know or have not seen my showcase of this ability, it made my jaw drop. It made my jaw drop of absolutely how garbage this ability is. If you guys don't know what it does, it increases your change power when you are dealt a finishing blow. What does this mean? You get a little bit a charge when the raider executes you. Now, the reason why this is bad is because at Mastered, it gives you a quarter, maybe even less, but about a quarter, like, I don't know, like 2 cubes worth, 2 small cubes worth of your level when you get executed. Brother, like, that is terrible. Now, I've heard some copium that if you max it out, it gives you like, I don't know, a half or like maybe 3/4, depending on what level you are. I still think it is terrible, just because being executed is never a good thing in this game. It increases the raider's evolution power, and it makes it so that if you get executed again, you're dead and you're out of the game. So there's absolutely no scenario where this would be a good thing. Now, I can understand why they made this ability bad, because imagine people are just throwing their lives away, just killing themselves, that way they can get an early level 3. So technically, this ability has the potential to be cracked, so I can understand why they made it really bad, just because imagine people were just like, feeding with the intentions to get their like level 2s and level 3s really early on. So that's why I have this ability so bad, or at number 1, just because, like, bro, you get like 2 cubes worth for getting executed. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So for 2 and 3, you're going to see a little bit of a trend here, but it's going to be the Head Start abilities, which is Head Start, Barrier Recovery, and Head Start Gloves. So I have Head Start Gloves at number 2, just because Gloves is pretty bad, it's pretty doo-doo, and normally just throughout playing the game, you're gonna find like 20 pairs of like Vegeta's dirty gloves that he was using to relieve himself with, like in crates across the map anyway. So you're not really gonna need to head start with gloves. Gloves is not that much of a high value item that you would want to start with anyway. Number 3, I have barrier device, just because, say, if you're not running barrier auto recovery, maybe, you know, you'll get some value out of this, but like, why in the world would you ever use head start barrier recovery when barrier auto recovery exists in the game? If you don't know what barrier auto recovery does, it gives you your barrier back without even needing to find one of these. So why would you use them as a head start item? I don't understand. So for number 4, I have temporary retreat. Temporary retreat, what it does, it allows you to pull survivors with you and heal them at the same time. On paper, this doesn't sound like a terrible passive skill, but the reason why I think it's terrible is because it heals you like at a snail's pace. And as you can see, it's also a snail's pace at which Yajirobe grabs the survivors. Even at plus 10, it's terrible, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, this could have been a cool niche ability, but the fact that it heals terribly, like, you move the survivors so slow, makes it so bad. So bad. Now, for number 5, I actually have the ability that I've had a terrible relationship, which is craving Earth's delights. Now, I understand comments. I understand in certain scenarios this ability can be good, but bro, if you watched my showcase, it literally took me basically, I don't know, like 20 minutes exploring the entire map to get all 5 foods from this passive ability. I cannot put this ability with a straight face on the best, and it must go on the worst, bro. It must. Because the pudding that you get from this ability is less than a cube, brother. It's worth less than a cube. Bro, there is a scenario where I got a big cube, a regular cube, and a pudding. I picked up the big cube first and then the pudding, and it didn't even give me my level 1. So adding no value there. If I picked up the cube and the fat cube, they would have gave me my level 1. So I don't know, man. Like, can this ability be clutch in very niche scenarios? Yes. But I just think there are better passive skills in the game. Bro, you could argue Power Charger is a better passive skill in the game. If you guys don't know what Power Charger does, let me show you what Power Charger does. Where is it, bro? Where is Goat Charger? Power Charger, where is it? It's in here. Power Charger slowly increases your change power when you're at change level is 0. Say you're having the worst RNG on the planet. This passive ability will ensure that you will at least hit your level 1. Craving Earth's Delights does not do that. It doesn't do that. All right. So ranting aside, for honorable mentions, I have Time Patroller's Duty. Now, the reason why I have Time Patroller's Duty as an honorable mention, just because it can technically be clutch for a raider that's camping the final key. Now, for that, I feel like this ability can be good, but the reason why this ability is bad is that it only impacts the final key. If this impacts other keys on the map, it'll be a very good ability, but because it only comes in play with the final key, I feel like that's the reason why it's honorable mentions, but not necessarily bad enough to make the top 5, but you could argue that I'm a little biased when it comes to Craving Earth's Delights. Now, while I'm doing this list, kind of realizing that I actually did forget a passive ability, which is a movement speed boost, which is movement speed boost Snow. Honestly, you could argue that this is the worst passive skill in the game just because there's literally only one map and only one corner of that one map that features Snow, which is Green Coast. So for that, I think you could probably put movement speed boost Snow as the number 1 worst, then Princely Pride, and then go with the list as I had it. So let's just go with that. So number 1, we have movement speed boost Snow as number 1 for worst. Then number 2, Princely Pride. Number 3, Head Start Gloves. Number 4, Head Start Barrier Device. Number 5, Temporary Retreat. And then I guess you could put Copium, Craving Earth's Delights in the honorable mentions along with Time Patroller's Duty as the worst. And then for the best, we have landing delay nullification, beyond Super Saiyan, exploration enthusiast, unconscious control, head start senzus, and then we have destructive impulse for the honorable mention for top 5 best super attacks, passive skills. Let me know, boys, in the comments below how you thought about the passive skills that we got for this season. Some of them were pretty solid, a lot of them were pretty trash. If you think the order of some of these skills should be changed around, if there's any passive skills that I put on the worst that you think belong in the best, and vice versa, let me know in the comments below. If you guys like the video, make sure to leave it a like and subscribe for more Dragon Ball The Breakers lists, showcases, funny moments, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, boys.